Well, just when you thought the Dodgers had turned the corner, they stubbed their toe, and it looks like we have a closer problem. What's up, everybody? I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to the weekend. It's Friday, TGIF, and for the Dodgers, I don't even think that's good enough anymore. It's Dodgers Latest. So happy that you could be part of it here on our YouTube page. Couldn't do this without you, man. We invite you to hit me up right there on X and on Instagram at JRodShow. And of course, here on the YouTube page, like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up button, make the algorithm do its thing. We're continuing to grow. Man, we've got some big numbers coming up, and that's because of you, the very best part of Dodgers Latest. We're going to have your viewer comments as well as Max Muncy makes history at Dodger Stadium. And of course, hang out with our partners over at Kalshi, where they do a great job with the prediction market. Put in the code word FanArchBaseball. You get 10 when you trade 10, and we'll have a prediction market coming up for you for this weekend as the Dodgers get to see the best pitcher in baseball, and Jacob Misiorowski. We'll get into that as well. But first things first, the Dodgers absolutely collapsed on Thursday night. Had a 4-2 lead going into the ninth inning. Tommy Trumpets, Edwin Diaz, it was happy in celebration. And Edwin Diaz gave up the booty. He pooped the bed, gave up 3 runs in the ninth inning. Dodgers lose 5-4. And now you have to start seriously thinking if either Edwin Diaz is not right. Has he had problems coming back from that elbow surgery? It's his 3rd blown save since coming off the IL at the end of July. He's given up 7 earned runs in 3 innings of work. 7 earned runs in 3 innings of work this month in August. Dodgers fall to the Brewers 5-4. That's coming off the sweep of the Royals just when the Dodgers were starting to feel good about themselves. They had caught the Braves for the number 2 seed. We're only 1 game behind Milwaukee for the top seed in the National League. Dodgers are now 2 games behind the Brewers, a half a game behind Atlanta, and in 3rd place in the National League right now in terms of the postseason, which means the Dodgers would have to play a wild card series, best of 3. They would not get the bye. And, of course, just an absolutely deflating loss for the Dodgers, who were feeling so good about themselves after the sweep of the Royals, having a 4-2 lead. Sasaki pitched great. It's his 5th consecutive start that he's given up 2 earned runs or less as he went 6 innings today. Had 5 walks, but hey, got through it. Freddie Freeman was in the lineup after that crazy fall, on Wednesday night against the Royals. So, again, Dodgers were really feeling themselves and came back to reality. And now you got to really start thinking about is Edwin, first and foremost, what's wrong with Edwin Diaz? Is it mechanics? You almost feel like it is, right? Coming off the elbow injury. I've always said, injuries are 2 parts. It's the actual physical injury, which bones heal, ligaments heal. A doctor could tell you, hey, you're fixed, you're 100%, go get them. But then the mental part of it is, hey, I could tell you you're healthy, but then all of a sudden you remember that pain, you remember that pop or whatever it was that caused that injury, and maybe Edwin Diaz isn't back 100% mentally. I don't know. He's pitched terribly. Dodgers have Tanner Scott sitting there who filled in admirably as the closer while Edwin Diaz was on the shelf for 3 months. I think it's time to shelf Edwin Diaz. He can't be the closer anymore. Maybe he's a 7th inning guy. Maybe he's an 8th inning guy. You flip it so Tanner Scott becomes the closer because the Dodgers now have a serious problem. It's a struggling team that has seemed to round the corner, has starting to get those clutch hits as we saw Max Muncy come off the bench and hit a big 3-run home run to give the Dodgers the lead, only to give it all back in that 9th inning. So, again, I think we're going to get more flushed out on Edwin Diaz's condition. Is the elbow not 100%? Is the mechanics not 100%? Is he tipping pitches? Dodgers need to get to the bottom of this quick because all of a sudden now, again, it's not about them not making the playoffs. They have an 8-game lead in the West over the Padres, 9 over the Diamondbacks. Playoffs are probably going to happen. It's a matter of how deep can they go. And all of a sudden now, losing these kind of games against the elite teams like the Brewers really brings up a question mark on whether the Dodgers can actually go far in the playoffs. And right now, Edwin Diaz is not the guy to take him there. Now, the good news is we talked about Max Muncy, a historic night for him, and with Eric Karros in attendance, it was Muncy who came off the bench, hit a 3-run pinch hit home run, gave the Dodgers a 4-2 lead at the time, and it was his 131st career home run at Dodger Stadium. And what does that mean? It means no one in the history of Dodger Stadium has hit more home runs there than Max Muncy. He passed Eric Karros, who was on the broadcast and was nothing but celebratory for Max. It was his 23rd home run of the year. Max was already 5th all-time in all-time Dodger history. That's Brooklyn and L.A. Max 5th all-time in home runs. Eric Karros is 3rd, by the way. Next up for Max, single digits trying to catch Roy Campanella for 4th all-time. And just a great moment. You know, Dodger Stadium had always been referred to as a pitcher's ballpark, right? Not an easy place to hit home run. And for Max Muncy to go out there and erase what Eric Karros had done, an absolute testament to his ability as a player. The Dodgers, of course, you know, I've always said this. He may be the greatest scrap heap guy the Dodgers have ever found. Remember, the A's gave up on Max Muncy. The A's currently have a guy named Max Muncy, but they gave up on the OG Max Muncy, and the Dodgers signed him. I mean, he goes up there with Justin Turner as one of the greatest signings that the Dodgers just kind of found out of nowhere. And for Max, I mean, I think it's fair to say, and it's not hyperbole, and not that there was any doubts, but I think after this historic home run last night, I think Max is the greatest third baseman in the history of the organization. I mean, that, and to me, with all due respect to Ron Cey, you know, has been passed by Muncy in terms of home runs all time within the organization. You know, Max Muncy, I don't know if he's as beloved as Ron Cey was, the Penguin. You know, Max has won championships, has hit big home runs in the playoffs. He's not quite the character that Ron Cey was in terms of physically waddling around. You know, the Ron Cey had a lot of exterior stuff that made him kind of stand out. But for Max Muncy, man, you know, became the first Dodger to start at third base in the All-Star game, you know, in almost 50 years since Ron Cey. So I think Max has now cemented himself as the greatest third baseman in Dodger history. And of course, congratulations to him passing Eric Karros for most home runs all time at Dodger Stadium with his 131st home run. And it looked like it was going to be a winner as the Dodgers gave the Dodgers a 4-2 lead, only to give it all back in the 9th inning. So congrats to Max Muncy and company. Dodgers, man, gotta get going here. And you know who gets it going? Our buddies at Kalshi. They've been awesome, man. The prediction market is here. NFL preseason has started. And with baseball season still here, you can trade on every game, and including every Dodger game, as part of the prediction market. And for the Dodgers, they're going to take on Jacob Mizorowski on Saturday. It's Yoshinobu Yamamoto tonight for the Dodgers. And we thought about, hey, what was going to be the Cy Young race in the National League? It looks like Mizorowski's running away with it. He's trading at an 83% probability to win the Cy Young in the National League, meaning that a $100 trade pays over $115 to win. So he's the prohibitive favorite. Chris Sale's there, Christopher Sanchez. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is trading at 2%, meaning a $100 trade is like $7,000 if you think Yamamoto is going to win it, man. So it's a fun time, and they've been a great partner with us. And remember, on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning that there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. And for a limited time, you download that Kalshi app, use the code word FANARCHBASEBALL. FANARCHBASEBALL, you get $10 when you trade 10. That's Kalshi, Kalshi. You can trade on anything, and they mean anything. Probability is high for Mizorowski to win the Cy Young. If you want to be against it, again, if he's trading at that probability to win the Cy Young at 83%, that means it's 17% not to win the Cy Young. So the lower the probability, the higher the payout. Just something to keep in mind, and always a good time with our buddies over at Kalshi. All right, meanwhile, the Dodgers, interesting story here. Boy, things just keep getting weirder and weirder in this organization lately. There's a rumor out there, or there's a story out there, that obviously Mark Walter, who is the controlling owner of the Dodgers, he basically bought the Lakers about 8-9 months ago for $10 billion. And everybody was like, wow, okay, cool. Andrew Friedman, who is the VP of Player Operations, Stan Kasten, who's the president of the team, they were kind of also, helping out in the transition of leadership with the Lakers. So Mark Walter, who owns the Dodgers, owned the Lakers, and then in a stunning move, less than a year later, Mark Walter sold the Lakers. He bought them for $10 billion, sold it for $12.5 billion. So you think to yourself, well, he made a profit of it. But it kind of raised some red flags that you would sell an organization. Ownership just doesn't happen like that. You don't buy a team and then less than a year later you sell it. Listen, truth be told, Mark Walter is under investigation for the government for some tax problems from some of the other companies that he sees, but he has reiterated that the Dodgers are not going to have any changes, not going to sell the team, etc. But that brings up an interesting point that Shohei Ohtani has a clause in his 10-year, $700 million contract with the Dodgers. It's called the Key Man Clause, which means if Mark Walter sells the team or if Andrew Friedman leaves the team, Shohei Ohtani can null, void, and cancel and walk away from his contract and become a free agent. Now, the sources have said that Ohtani's people have said he will not walk away if Mark Walter sold the team. Now, again, there's no indication that the Dodgers are going to be sold. It just kind of scared everybody the way Mark Walter sold the Lakers. Stan Kasten even reiterated, hey, that's a Laker thing. It's not a Dodger thing. No changes are happening here. And Andrew Friedman apparently isn't going anywhere either. Why would he? Last time we saw something similar to this in baseball, it involved Andrew Friedman when he was the GM of the Rays and he left the Tampa to come to the Dodgers. Joe Madden, who was the manager of the Rays, had a key man clause, and basically it allowed Joe Madden to leave Tampa when Friedman left to come to the Dodgers. And of course, Joe Madden went on, managed the Cubs, and won a World Series with them. But this key man clause, and again, Shohei Ohtani has 700 million reasons why he would not want to opt out of a deal. It looks like he is not interested in leaving. If anything should happen, we don't think Andrew Friedman's going anywhere, but that Mark Walter news certainly raised some eyebrows. But as of right now, all is good in Dodgerland. Maybe a little turbulent, but all is good for now. Love to hear your thoughts on this here on Dodgers Latest. Remember, be part of the show. You're the very best part of this. Couldn't do this without you. Love your viewer comments. Love your I read them all, try to respond to all. And of course, how did the Dodgers, come back from this devastating loss to the Brewers last night? Again, we thought things were well after they swept Kansas City. This weekend will tell you whether the Dodgers are back to normal. Sweeping the Royals is nothing. They should sweep the Royals. So making this a great thing is laughable with the talent they have. It shouldn't even be a thought of not beating the Royals. Yeah, well, you know what? Again, you try to look for any sort of a bright spot, any sort of a silver lining, if you will. But the Dodgers really have now kind of, put everybody back on not panic. 8-game lead in the West is not panic, but boy, the Edwin Diaz situation, now I think we have reached critical mass with it, where I think the Dodgers seriously have to question if he is the closer moving forward. Again, I think it's a mechanics thing. Unless he's actually physically hurt again and he's had a sort of a setback and that elbow surgery is didn't take. Again, ERA of 11.5, 7 earned runs in 3 innings this month. And his third blown save since coming off the IL. There's something definitely wrong there. And for the Dodgers, again, they just don't have the time to waste because, again, a lot of it is image. A lot of it is positioning as you get close to the postseason. We're in the home stretch. We're in the dog days. And the Dodgers need to get things in order. Not because they're not going to make the playoffs, but seeding and again, it's how they look against teams that are good. And right now, since the All-Star break, the Dodgers have been pretty bad against some of the elite teams in baseball. Remember to hit me up right here on X and on Instagram at JRodShow, and continue to like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up button, make the algorithm do its thing here on the YouTube page. All right, Dodgers on the mound tonight. It's Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who has dominated the Brewers. Him and his 2.65 ERA. Lefty Robert Gasser's on the mound for Milwaukee. It's Mizorowski and Robleski on Saturday, and then Logan Henderson and Tarek Skubal on Sunday as the Dodgers try to right the ship and before they hit the road for a quick little road trip to Denver, try to get well and win this series against the Brewers. All right, let's have a good time. Let's have a good weekend. And remember, it's always time for Dodger baseball.